Good morning, everybody. Welcome to week 5 of our COM 151 class. So far, over the last 4 weeks, we've been dealing a lot with Microsoft Word and a little bit of Microsoft PowerPoint. This week, we're going to transition and start working with Microsoft Excel. Microsoft Excel is a very powerful program that allows us to do a lot of different math functions. Whether it's basic add and subtract, multiply, divide, square roots, things like that. But it allows us to build worksheets and put formulas in. And then once the formula is in and we know that the formula is correct, all we have to do is add numbers and it will do the math for us. And so it allows us to do things like what if analysis, be able to put in real numbers and get real answers, or actually put in numbers and say, well, if this happens, what would be the outcome? If we make this amount of money or we do this kind of thing, what would be the likely outcomes and so forth, without you having to do a tremendous amount of math. It's a fairly easy to set up as far as math goes, but you have to follow some very, very basic principles. All formulas begin with an equals sign, and they use cell addresses in the formula instead of numbers, if you will. And so with that said, the next thing that's most important is in Excel, excuse me, is order of operations. When you go back and think about some of your high school math, when you have a extended formula that has adding and subtracting, multiplying and dividing, things in parentheses, what things happen first, what things happen second, what happens third, things like that, are things that you need to really go back and refresh yourself on in terms of Microsoft Excel. Because what you're going to basically do when you write a formula is write it out, just like the old order of operations used to be in math class, and you put it in, and then, like I say, when you put your numbers in and that kind of thing, you get the right answers. So sounds a little complicated at first. Not really. Takes some thinking sometimes, takes a little bit of refresher work, but I think you'll find that Excel is kind of cool. It's a very, very powerful program that everybody uses in business. A lot of people will do their own home budgets and that kind of thing on it, keep up with investments and things like that. So we're going to start working a little bit with Excel this week. I hope that you'll enjoy it. It's kind of fun when you can set it up and it works like you want it to, and we'll see how it goes. In addition to that, we're going to see that you can have multiple worksheets within a particular file, just like you could pages of a book. And you can actually link numbers on different pages from one page to another and so forth, and do those same formulas, which is pretty easy to do as well. Lastly, we'll be looking at some charting. Charts take those numbers and turn them into a visual representation. And Excel does a very good job of charts for you. And what you'll find is that as you change the numbers, those numbers are linked to the charts, and as you change those numbers, the chart will adjust automatically. So what ends up happening is that we do a little bit of work on the front end, setting up our worksheets, setting up our charts, setting up the various things that we need to see, and then going forward, all we have to do is save the file and then just change numbers based on the circumstances to see the answers. So it's a real work saver over time. So we'll be having a lot of fun, I hope, with Excel, and I look forward to working with you on that. From a housekeeping standpoint, on Tuesday night this week, we will have our Zoom conference call. If you'll look, I will both email you and put in the announcement, the address for the Zoom call. We'll meet Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for about an hour and talk about how the class is going, talk a little bit about Excel, Word, and things that you may need to know, and just kind of have a time to work together. This is a graded exercise. It does count in your assignments grade. It's a very easy grade to get, so please make sure that you attend. If you can't, then I will be recording that and you can watch it going forward. So we'll be doing Zoom on Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Hopefully you have audio and video because it will be a live chat that you can see me and I can see you. if you have video, and that you can hear me and I can hear you, and if you have audio. If not, we'll just have to use the chat function for that. This is week 5 coming up, so we'll start putting midterm grades, if you will, in. So if you are still behind, I'm going to go ahead and update all week 1 through week 4 this weekend. So if you see that you have zeros on anything other than discussion posts, that means I don't have that work, or I don't see that work, and that is a signal to you to make sure that you've done it, and that if you have done it, that you let me know you've done it and that it's not showing up in the grade book, and we'll see what's going on from there. So I do plan starting tomorrow today actually, on Sunday, updating the grade book and making sure you know everything that you have at the midterm point, so you can make adjustments accordingly. Again, just because you see a 0 other than the discussion posts doesn't mean that's your final grade, and that does mean that that work has not been turned in, or that it's missing, and that if you don't do something, it would be your final grade. So as we start getting to the halfway point in the class, it's going to be important now that you get caught up and that you keep up, because as I've said in many classes before, time starts speeding up once you pass the halfway point, and next thing you know, you're into the last couple of weeks and stressing out because you aren't caught up. So now's a great time to get that done and make sure that we don't have any surprises. If you got any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you in class.